Ever feel like managing your cloud environment is less like careful planning and more like just trying to herd cats, you know?
Hey, definitely. Resources popping up everywhere.
Exactly. Configurations all over the place, and you're constantly worried about security, compliance. It's a lot.
It really is.
So today, we're going to dive deep into two really powerful tools that promise to bring some order to that chaos: Azure Policies and Azure Blueprints.
Hmm.
Think of this as your essential guide to getting a real grip on cloud governance. Doesn't matter if you're new to Azure or, a seasoned pro.
Right. And our goal today is basically to cut through the jargon, show you how these tools build structure, build compliance right into your Azure deployments.
Okay.
We're pulling out the key stuff you need to know
Okay.
so you can build and manage things confidently.
All right, let's unpack this then. What exactly are Azure Policies and Blueprints, and I guess why do we even need them? Let's kick off with Azure Policies. Simply put, what are we talking about?
Think of them as the guardrails, the rules for your cloud resources.
Okay. Like saying you must use encryption for storage, or maybe only deploy VMs in certain regions.
Exactly that. Mandating encryption, specific regions, requiring certain tags. It's about automated rules for consistency and, importantly, compliance.
So it's not just setting rules, it's more about embedding governance early,
Yeah.
shifting left, as they say.
Precisely. It's moving from, cleaning up messes after they happen to preventing them automatically. Proactive control.
Got it. Guardrails.
Yeah.
Proactive. Okay, so then how do Azure Blueprints fit in? How do they level up from policies?
Right. So blueprints are like comprehensive packages. They bundle together those policies we just talked about.
Hmm.
Pre-configured resources using ARM templates, that's Azure Resource Manager,
Yeah.
your infrastructure as code,
Right, I see.
and even permissions, role-based access control or RBAC, who can do what.
So it bundles policies, templates, and permissions all in one.
Yeah, all into one reusable definition. It's super useful for simplifying those big standard deployments. Like, say, a secure web app stack you need to roll out consistently.
Okay, that makes sense. But what problems were people actually having before these tools? What headaches did they solve?
Oh, plenty. Before policies and blueprints, you saw tons of inconsistent configurations across different teams or projects.
Right.
Lots of manual compliance checks, auditors asking, is this encrypted? Is that tagged? It was incredibly time-consuming and, frankly, error-prone.
I can imagine. Leading to security risks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Misconfigurations are a huge attack vector. Policies fix this by enforcing rules automatically, like restricting public IPs or ensuring specific network security groups are applied. It drastically cuts down misconfigurations and helps meet those regulatory requirements. GDPR, HLPA, you name it. Less manual checking.
So policies are the automatic rule enforcers. And blueprints, then, they stop you having to do the same setup over and over again, making
Okay.
sure it's consistent.
Exactly. That's the key benefit. They tackle that repetitive manual setup challenge. Package everything, the infrastructure, the policies, the roles, so you deploy consistent, compliant environments every single time.
Okay. So for someone just starting out, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, what are the must-know features of policies?
Good question. First, understand scope. Policies can apply broadly, like at the management group level.
Which covers multiple subscriptions, right?
Correct. Great for organization-wide rules. Or you can narrow the scope down to specific subscriptions or even resource groups for finer control.
And they have different effects. I've seen terms like enforce or audit.
Yes, exactly. Enforce actually blocks non-compliant actions. Audit just flags things that are out of line. It doesn't stop them. And modify can actually fix certain settings automatically.
Okay. And Azure gives you a head start with built-in ones.
Definitely. Lots of built-in policies for common things requiring MFA, enforcing NIST standards.
Hmm.
But you can absolutely write your own custom policies too.
And blueprints use these policies.
They do. Blueprints orchestrate the whole deployment. A single blueprint could, say, deploy a VNet, apply that encryption policy we talked about, and assign specific roles all at once. And importantly, both tools hook into Azure Cost Management if you use tags consistently. Plus, audit logs for everything. Crucial for reporting.
That sounds really powerful. Almost too good to be true. Can you give a quick, maybe real-world example, perhaps where things can go wrong, too?
Sure. A simple policy. Mandate HTTPS on all storage accounts. Great for security, automatically enforced. Easy win.
Okay.
A potential pitfall. Making a policy too strict without thinking about exceptions. You might accidentally block a valid business process if you're not careful with the scope or rules.
Ah, right. Need careful planning.
Yes.
Definitely.
For blueprints, Imagine deploying a standard web app environment network, app service, databases, all the policies baked in. Great for consistency across dev teams.
Yeah.
The challenge there, keeping that blueprint up to date. Versioning is key as your needs change. If you don't manage versions well, you can cause issues.
So for beginners then, what are the top best practices? How do they start smart?
Start simple. Use the built-in policies first. They
Yeah.
cover a lot. Apply them at the highest sensible scope, usually management groups.
Get broad coverage first.
Exactly. Use exemptions only when really needed. For blueprints, think modularly. Make reusable components. And always test in a dev or staging environment first. Don't experiment in production.
Test, test, test. Got it. And use tags.
Absolutely use tags.
Yeah.
For cost, for policy assignment, for organization, be consistent. And for those more advanced, look into policy as code. Managing these definitions in Git using pipelines. That's the next level.
Makes sense. Now, no tool is perfect. What are some limitations or maybe common frustrations people run into?
Well, one key thing, policies manage Azure resources.
Hmm.
They don't typically manage configurations inside a VM or database data itself. You need other tools for that.
Okay, so it's about the Azure infrastructure layer.
Primarily, yes. Also, really complex custom policies can get tricky to write and troubleshoot. And blueprints do add a bit of management overhead, especially for smaller setups. Versioning needs discipline.
And they depend on Azure Resource Manager, so ARM's limits apply.
Right. And sometimes new Azure services might launch before they have comprehensive built-in policies available.
Hmm.
So there can be a slight lag. Good planning and testing really are vital to make sure your governance works for you, not against you. Tying it all together, though, these tools, policies, and blueprints, they're really fundamental now for building cloud solutions that are secure, scalable, and well-governed.
Right.
They give you the power to automate compliance, standardize your deployments. It makes the whole Azure experience much more manageable.
It definitely sounds like it brings essential control. Which leads to a final thought for you, our listeners, to chew on. As cloud environments just keep getting more complex, sprawling even, how will our ability to govern them effectively, to automate compliance,
Mhm.
how will that need to evolve? Maybe beyond what even policies and blueprints offer today. Something to think about. That was a fantastic deep dive. Really cleared things up for me. We hope you feel a lot more well-informed about Azure policies and blueprints now.